Another hot topic at the Sohn conference today was Bitcoin. For more on that, let's bring in Bitcoin bull John Pfeffer of Pfeffer Capital. John, great to have you on the program.
Great to be here.
I want to go right to what you were predicting at the conference, and that is that Bitcoin will rise to no less than 90,000 and potentially as high as 700,000. What sort of time frame are you looking for, and can you sort of lay out the case for the bear case, I guess, if you want to call it that, for 90,000, and the bull case, which is 700 grand?
Well, sure. The bear case is zero, but
okay.
Listen, these are all. I think people should think about crypto assets, Bitcoin, as a venture capital investment. They could go to zero, but there's a chance that they could be worth much more. In the case of Bitcoin, the $90,000 price would be what it would be worth if Bitcoin became equal to private gold bullion holdings, about $1.6 trillion of total value compared to $150 billion or thereabouts today. You know, it's a bet. It's a risk that I think is interesting and I'd be willing to take. On the higher end, you could get to higher values if Bitcoin becomes a major reserve currency, i.e., you know, countries begin to take Bitcoin into their reserves, and in that case, it could reach several $100,000. I think the probability of that is lower, but it's certainly a possibility, and that's what you do when you make a venture capital investment. You're betting on potential outcomes.
You're basically saying that Bitcoin would have to replace a certain percentage. I believe you said 25% of foreign reserves. What is the equivalent in terms of what currency out there that exists that's 25% of foreign reserves? Just to give us an idea of how big this would have to be.
Yeah. So foreign reserves are $12.7 trillion in total. 11% of that is gold, and about 60% of the rest, so you know, is the dollar. And then you've got a few other currencies: the pound, the yen, the Swiss franc, et cetera, and the euro, of course, that make up the remainder.
When you take a look out at what Bitcoin would replace, I mean, are you thinking mostly emerging market currencies, places where there's severe devaluation first, and then you get sort of a small percentage of, you know, the dollar, the euro, I mean, yeah. The thing with the developed countries, obviously, is that there's such infrastructure that there's great competition, right, to be used as a currency. There's no reason for somebody in the U.S., for instance, to say, I'm going to transact only in Bitcoin, at least right now.
I completely agree. I mean, I don't think this is about paying for coffee, and yeah. At least that's not. I think that's certainly not my thesis. So I completely agree. And in developed countries like the U.S., there's no screaming need. And in developing countries, or certainly countries with collapsed currencies, it is more important and could be more for daily use. When I think about the displacement argument, I start with gold, because I think that gold, frankly, is kind of silly. I mean, we're a spacefaring digital society, and we're still using a yellow metal as our non-sovereign store of value. At some point, we're going to come up with a better technology for that, and Bitcoin is the first candidate to do that. We'll see if it works.
Я пришел дать эту песню из хрустальных слез.